Thanks for the Marines, guys. I kind of need them. They will die in 2 seconds, but I will probably need them. Yeah, this is going to be great. Nothing wrong can go. Oh my. Okay. Oh, man. Yeah, you guys should really not be standing there. Okay. Wow. It's like a pixel. You gotta... Oh. I don't even remember it being this bad. You have to use... You literally have to use the sniper rifle itself. If they didn't put one back here, I don't think you'd be able to do this. And you want to talk about cover shooter. I think Halo 2 Legendary does a good job of that. Okay, I know there's like a... Isn't there a trigger here to spawn more things? Oh yeah, like that. Oh, I didn't get him. I didn't know there were invisible elites. I didn't know that. Oh my. The fact that a plasma pistol can just take my shields out in like 2 seconds. Bungie, what is this all about, huh? Who hurt you, Bungie? Who hurt you? Ah! Oh my goodness. Gonna cry. Oh, wow, thanks! Thanks for putting a pistol right here! I guess you can use it with the plasma pistol. Hey! I see you! Don't do that! Ah! Stop! Okay, well this isn't gonna track because he's invisible, right? Yeah, it won't track. There's another one?! Halo 2 is known as being one of the hardest difficulties in any Halo game. Many have called it outright broken and unfair. The first level, Cairo Station, is a great example of this. Cairo Station is filled with enemies that'll just melt you in seconds. And this isn't just due to the increased enemies or being given worse weapons. It has to do with how the game changes when you switch it to Legendary difficulty. Pretty much everything is affected. Your health, your shields, weapon stats, enemies' weapon stats, and even the enemy's AI are all changed to be more difficult for the player. There can be different amounts of enemies or different ranks of enemies, but really the main thing that makes this so hard is how fundamentally changed the gameplay loop becomes. Comparing this to Halo 1 is pretty insane. Just watch how long it takes to be killed by the first round of enemies in Halo 1 versus Halo 2. That's a pretty big difference, and it has to do with how the health bar changed in between each game. Not having health in Halo 2 is probably the biggest reason there's that much of a difference. The health in Halo 1 gives you that extra cushion so that when you get into an encounter, you're not totally overwhelmed and completely out of options. In Halo 2, the only thing that shows up is just your shields, which when depleted only takes a couple shots to lead to your death. And that's because I lied, you actually do have health in Halo 2. It's just not shown. Once your shields go down, you do go down to a base health stat, but what level your health stat is at any given time is unknown to you. So you basically just have to guess whether or not you're gonna die. And on Legendary, you might as well not worry about it because that number is so low, it doesn't even matter. Yeah, so just the fact that you can die from pretty much just 3 shots after your shields are down, and most enemies just spray their weapons and are pretty accurate, means that Halo 2 turns into a tough time. And if you're still not convinced that Halo 2 is kind of an unbalanced mess, here's a couple more things that I found that change when the game's set on Legendary. Shields are 50% their normal resistance. The Arbiter's active camouflage lasts only 5 seconds and takes 10 seconds to recharge. Enemy shields and health are almost double their normal resistance. Most enemies are switched out to their major variant. Flood combat forms are frequently wielding shotguns and rocket launchers and more insta-kill weapons. Jackal snipers will appear more often, and it only takes 1 shot to kill you. Okay, wow. Oh. Okay, yep. Almost all elite combat forms have shields. And finally, I couldn't believe this one. 1 shot from a brute shot will have the same power as a shot from a rocket launcher on easy difficulty. Wow. After that short list, I think you can see that the odds are kind of stacked against you. Luckily, it's possible that there's a solution to all these problems. Now that the modding scene has completely exploded for Halo, some people have taken a crack at retooling and reworking some of the mechanics so that Halo 2 is actually a lot more playable. So by going on the workshop, you can find some pretty good rebalance mods. The one we're going to be looking at today is called Halo 2 Campaign Difficulty Adjustment by the Hostile Negotiator. I wanted to try a more fairly recent one, as I know some people have tried before, but I wanted to see what the newer ones had to offer. And I have to say, this is a really great mod. Just from the first couple of missions, I have to say it does feel a lot more like Halo 1's Legendary. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely still possible to die, but just a few key changes makes it a lot more bearable, and a lot less deaths that you feel like couldn't have been avoided. Here are just a few of the changes that this mod has. Players' health increased from 30 to 45. Projectile tracking difficulty modified for all difficulties. Reduce AI's initial rate of fire for most standard weapons. Flood combat form health reduced. Reduce Brute's health. So yeah, that's just some of the changes that make this mod a lot easier, and I appreciate some of the reductions in health, as some of the enemies can feel very spongy when you're fighting them. So let's take a look at some gameplay and see how different it is. When I first started playing, I could already tell it was going to be a much easier experience. The first room of Kairos Station feels a lot more balanced. I was able to take out a lot of the elites with just my battle rifle, and usually when I'm playing Legendary, I have to rely a lot more heavily on the noob combo. By just staying behind corners and taking my time, I was able to kind of place my shots carefully and take out most enemies without a problem. I also wanted to try the SMGs because I don't think I've ever used them in a Legendary playthrough. They've been pretty much worthless, and by dual wielding them I was actually able to take out elite pretty easily. My shields did go down a lot, but as you can see in this mod, the time it takes you to die is nowhere near original difficulty level. Another thing I wanted to test is the Jackal snipers. That's probably the most infamous thing about the second level Outskirts, is how the map is just filled with Jackal snipers, which kill you in one shot. And let me just say, they did not decrease the amount of Jackal snipers. Pretty much every time a new wave started in this little courtyard area, more Jackal snipers would spawn, which were still kind of a problem. But hey, they don't just catch you standing right out in the open and kill you instantly. At least your shields have to be down, or they have to shoot you once before they can just insta-kill you. The combat forms are also dialed back a lot, which I appreciate as well. They don't feel as spongy, and I can actually kill them, which is good. I just had a really big problem in the original game of running backwards, shooting all of my bullets that I had at like 2 or 3 combat forms that would just not die. But that isn't really the case anymore with this mod. So I would say ultimately, is it possible to fix Halo 2 Legendary? And I'd say yes. With the dedication of the community solely focused on modding and creating a better experience in Halo, it's really a great time to go through and just check out everyone's rebalance mods. I wouldn't say they were the most intense experience, and you might not even notice the difference at first, but I think for the people that really love these games, it's truly a love letter to Bungie and the fact that everyone cares so much about their games. I think this is kind of the definitive way to play Halo 2 Legendary. As anything else, it just feels like you're being punished for no reason. And listen, I know we all hate on Halo 2 for how difficult it is, but honestly, I think I'm kind of glad that it's like that. It stands as a true challenge to test some of the most hardcore Halo fans, and I think if it wasn't made so poorly, we probably still wouldn't be talking about it to this day. So I really appreciate Bungie in all their unbalanced glory. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.